Chapter 15. Fatigue. The disability appeal letter worked, and a doctor was sent to my house to watch me manoeuvre up the hill. After asking if I could stop for a break after only about 6 meters, I was allowed to go home and put my feet up. The doctor didn't even need to test my legs or make me walk further. He saw the distress and the pain in my eyes. He knew I was living a lie and fighting it with every step. The doctor must have known that I could not take too much more, and thankfully for me, I was given the label disabled. I hated being seen as disabled, and hated the word with all my might, but I knew that my perfect life was in the past now, and that I had to come to terms with this new title, Stephanie Millward, the girl with MS who receives benefits because she is disabled. Ouch. I later swapped my trusty blue Metro for a Renault Clio on the Motability scheme. I was thrilled with the new car and impressed with the Motability deal that was awarded to me for being disabled. You can swap your disability living allowance payments for a car. The insurance for 2 people is paid by the allowance, and the car tax is also free as it is part of the deal. What a wonderful help. All this made my life a little bit easier. I also had a new feeling which was a symptom, an excuse, and a nightmare all at the same time. Fatigue. Fatigue is not the same as tiredness. It is a form of, or an inability to do something or anything. I could not move because my legs felt laden down with coal and bricks. Nothing wanted to move. People keep saying they are tired. Wow, they really have no idea what real tiredness feels like. Able-bodied swimmers with nothing wrong complain they are tired. If only they could feel just a tiny bit of what I am feeling. Just a tiny bit would shock them for a lifetime, and they would never say, I am so tired again. The inability to move your arms or legs just because of pure fatigue, and the dead weight of muscles that just don't want to move. How can anyone compare? If only they knew. Ignorance is bliss, but I suppose you can only comment on what you know, or something you have experienced. I have now experienced both forms of tiredness. The normal person's tired, and the MS person's tired. 100% different. With the normal person's tired, you can still move. With the MS person's tired, fatigue, you might as well be strapped to the ground by lead ropes. You need to fight through this burden just to be able to move a millimeter. From the moment you get up in the morning to the last thing at night, all you have is a constant feeling of exhaustion, having to stop for breaks to ensure you don't overtire yourself. It was almost like a game of cat and mouse, trying to push myself as much as I could, but not letting the MS catch up. Muscle strength is also affected as a side effect to fatigue. This is also called or known as MS lassitude. That's what the doctor said. Fatigue can cause inability and muscle weakness. Like I said, being strapped to the floor with little or no relief. Muscle atrophy can also be caused by lack of movement due to balance or gait issues, as well as dizziness, vertigo, all of which are symptoms of MS, and all a bit of a nuisance from my point of view. Another problem I struggled with was the inflammation on my brain severely affected my short-term memory, and every name, or even the things on my to-do list, were forgotten as soon as I had thought them up. It was very frustrating, and I ended up writing post-it notes to remind me to do everything. My A-levels, unfortunately, were never going to be easy with the lack of memory and the eyesight issues. They stopped everything, but still believing I could do anything. I kept going to school and kept trying to relearn the information. If I could move everything into my long-term memory, maybe I could remember it. Unfortunately, my long-term memory was affected too, with the stress of getting the MS, and my exams were another very disappointing affair. Looking back at this, wondering if I could have done anything differently, I feel that now I would try to use my long-term memory more and spend longer on each subject to make sure I remembered it. I think that my A-level exams were just something for me that came perhaps at the wrong time when I was still trying to find my place in the world, and with the new addition of a disease nobody knew anything about. Getting the diagnosis for MS was a relief, as it was a name for the symptoms I was experiencing, and it was something to blame. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I kept looking at everything I had done in my life. I had always been hard-working and determined, and never bad. I didn't think, therefore, that this was a reaction from something I had done. Maybe God had given me the MS to give other people strength. Maybe if I can be someone that people look up to and find inspiring, it can make the MS that much easier. Maybe I got MS so that I can give people hope. Yeah, maybe, as this is a very worthwhile reason. I have to experience all the MS symptoms so I know what other people are feeling. Okay, MS, hit me with anything. I am ready.